Now, have you ever used a phone for a few days and thought, why don't more companies do it like this? Well, that's kind of where I landed after spending a week with the OnePlus 15. And before we go any further, no, this isn't one of those reviews where I pretend that this phone is perfect or where I act like OnePlus reinvented physics. I'm not here to be a cheerleader for any brand. I'm just here to talk about what actually stood out, what didn't, and why this phone has been getting a lot more attention than usual. On paper, this thing looks almost too confident. It has a battery that's bigger than pretty much every major flagship, charging speeds that still make other companies look slow on purpose, a finish that refuses to collect scratches or fingerprints, and a camera system that, in my experience so far, might actually be overhated online. And the crazy part is that OnePlus is doing all of this while sitting in a price range that the average person can realistically consider. And that alone makes it interesting in a market where quote-unquote flagship has slowly turned into a luxury item. And like I said before, I'm no cheerleader. I'm not going to pretend that this phone is flawless. There are places where this phone shines and places where it has a lot of room to still grow. And also, if you guys are new here, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and follow me on my socials so that you can stay in the loop with everything that I'm testing. And also, I'd love for you guys to just be a part of the community. Alright, look, before we get into anything with this phone, I would like to show you some of the negatives that the OnePlus 15 has that definitely bother me after a week of daily use. And since this phone has been getting a ton of hate and criticism online, I also want to talk about some of that too, because some of it is valid and some of it, in my opinion, is just noise. First off, let's start with something that I noticed pretty early: portrait mode. Now, based on my early testing, I feel like it's genuinely hit or miss. On the good shots, it looks sharp, clean, and honestly really nice, but there were a few times where it really struggled, especially with my hair. A couple of photos literally blur a chunk of my hair, like the phone couldn't tell if I was a subject or a part of the background. It's not unusable by any means, but it's definitely inconsistent, and for the people who love portrait photos, that is something to be very aware of. And I would say that another thing that really surprised me in a not so great way was the software customization. Now, this is more catered towards all of OnePlus phones, but coming from my Galaxy S25 Ultra, I'm used to having this really deep widget control, including the ability to make most widgets transparent for a super clean home screen layout. But for the OnePlus 15, this was the first time where I couldn't really make my calendar widget transparent. And while the resizing widgets were definitely unique, they also were limited. I tried expanding my clock widget to fill space, and it just couldn't go any further, leaving this awkward empty gaps on my home screen. Is it a small thing? Yeah. Is it a personal preference? Also, yeah. But if you're someone who really cares about personalization, this is something that you'll probably notice too. But besides that, I haven't really ran into any other major problems that have disrupted my experience, and at the time of me making this video, the performance and smoothness is still very sharp. But with all that being said, I don't really agree with this narrative that the OnePlus 15 is some massive downgrade or a what were they thinking kind of phone. People have been calling out the lower screen resolution, but in person, it still looks very sharp, vibrant, and honestly, just as good as the OnePlus 13 did in person. And when it came to the downgraded vibration motor, I haven't really missed a single notification. It's still strong enough to wake me up, and it's still strong enough to notify me throughout the day. And something that I also thought was very nitpicky was the fact that the 165Hz refresh rate is mainly for gaming. But let's be real, once you've lived with 120Hz for a while, it's already crazy smooth. I really don't think that extra 40Hz would change much for the way that most people just scroll through Instagram or browse their phones in daily use. And even on my Infinix that's 144Hz, most apps do not even support anything over 120. So it's honestly very realistic for 165Hz to only be supported on game. Now, one that I did kind of get was the removal of the alert slider. I know that it did upset a lot of long-term OnePlus fans like myself, but after using it for a week, the OnePlus button is not that bad, and it actually lets you do even more. And honestly, just like the iPhone series moving their mute sliders as well, I kind of like having the extra flexibility, and you do get used to it fairly quick. So no, the OnePlus 15 is not perfect at all. It does have flaws just like every other phone on the market, but I'm also just not buying into the propaganda that it's some catastrophic downgrade, because using it in person, it still feels just as solid, if not better in some areas, than the beloved OnePlus 13. But alright, let's get into the design and build quality, because this is one of the things that made me stop and go, okay, OnePlus actually did something here. Now, the OnePlus 15 keeps that clean, flat edge look that gives the phone a really modern profile, almost like a fusion between the industrial iPhone silhouette and the classic OnePlus minimalism. You get a flat aluminum alloy frame all around, and it immediately gives the phone a confident premium feel in hand. But the part that I've grown really attached to after a week is this black finish. Now this isn't just any matte black, it's one of the best black finishes that I've ever seen on a smartphone. Most matte black phones look amazing on day one and then spend the rest of their life collecting fingerprints, smudges, and tiny scratches that show up under any decent lighting, but this one refuses to do that. It stays insanely clean, and I'm not constantly swiping it on my shirt, I'm not babying it, and even after a week of using it without a case, it still looks fresh. It has this smooth, almost ceramic-like feel, except it's not really slippery. And there's just enough texture that I don't feel like it's about to slide out of my hand. So for anyone who hates glossy backs or phones that turn into fingerprint museums after 5 minutes, this finish is definitely going to feel like a blessing. It's honestly one of those phones where I actually prefer using it without a case because the materials just hold up that well. And beyond appearance, the durability also gets even more interesting. The OnePlus 15 has Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and Gorilla Glass 7i on the back, so you're getting solid drop and scratch protection. But what really surprised me this year was the upgraded level of dust and water resistance. This phone isn't just IP68, it's IP66, IP68, and IP69K certified. And that last one, IP69K, is something that you usually see on industrial equipment, which basically means that this thing can handle high pressure, high temperature water jets. Now I filmed these videos in my basement, so I don't have any high temperature water jets, and I'm definitely not aiming a pressure washer at my phone just to prove a point, but knowing that it's rated for that gives it a level of toughness and confidence that I've never seen on a flagship. And moving on to the weight and feel in hand, after a week of daily use, I can say that it has a solid, dense feel, not heavy in an uncomfortable way, but heavy in a way that makes it still feel expensive. If you're coming from a super light device, you might notice the change at first, but I quickly adjusted now, and it just feels nice, like the weight matches the overall build quality. Now moving on to the display, the OnePlus 15 is running a 6.7-inch flat LTPO OLED display with a resolution of 2772 by 1272, sometimes called 1.5K. It's adaptive from 1 to 120 Hz for everyday use, and it can push up to 165 Hz in supported games, which is pretty nice. On paper, that sounds like a slight downgrade if you're coming from a Quad HD Plus panel, and I've definitely seen people online make some noise about it, but here's a part that actually matters. In real use, it still looks just as good as any other flagship in its price range. Colors are clean and vibrant, text looks sharp, and I've never once caught myself thinking, I wish this resolution was higher. But if you're looking at the display in person, it doesn't really come across as a step down. Streaming HDR content looks great, light elements stay crisp, and it's one of those situations where numbers only tell one story, but your eyes can tell a completely different one. But moving on, let's talk brightness, because outdoor visibility can make or break a phone experience. Now this display does peak at around 1800 nits, and so far I've had zero issues using it outside. It stays viewable. It's not hitting the extreme levels of something like the latest Samsung S25 Ultra, but it's definitely more than bright enough for real world use, and that's honestly what matters. And what I also really appreciate though is the 2160 Hz PWM dimming, and without getting too overly technical, this basically makes the display more comfortable for people who are sensitive to screen flicker at lower brightness. Some phones can cause eye strain, especially at night, but I was perfectly fine browsing in dark rooms with this one, and it's one of those little quality of life features that you might not read on the box, but you definitely feel it in daily use. And because this is a flat panel, usability is noticeably better than curved displays that I've used in the past. And moving on to the 160 Hz refresh rate, I would say that in games you can feel it. Movements feel more immediate, like the screen actually reacts to every touch that you put in, and honestly it's just very subtle, but for the people who care, it's there and it's pretty sick. So yeah, for all of the critics saying that the display is a major downgrade, you might expect to notice a difference. It's still sharp, vibrant, responsive, and comfortable on my eyes. And based on real world usage, the display feels just as premium as the OnePlus 13 did. And when it comes to performance, the OnePlus 15 is running Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, paired with the Adreno 840 GPU and UFS 4.1 storage. And on paper, the combination already sounds powerful, but after a week of actually using the phone, I can say that it's not just fast, but it's very consistently fast. In day-to-day use, everything is instant. apps open quickly, and multitasking feels effortless. I've bounced between YouTube, Chrome with 10 plus tabs, Slack, TikTok, and a couple editing apps without the phone slowing down or randomly kicking apps out of memory. And for most people, this kind of performance is going to feel like you're never waiting on your phone. It's always waiting on you. But alright, let's talk about heavy use, because this is where phones usually start revealing their limits. I tested some 4K editing in CapCut, a bit of color grading, and exporting a short clip, and the render finished noticeably faster than the same clip on my previous phone. And what stood out even more was that the phone didn't start burning my hand in the process. Yes, it did get warm, but not uncomfortable, and more importantly, it didn't throttle during the export. And that's partly due to the vapor chamber cooling system, which seems to be doing some real work behind the scenes. And when it comes to gaming, the 8 Elite Gen 5 was definitely up to par. I tested Genshin Impact, Call of Duty Mobile, and a couple of high FPS titles that support 165Hz gameplay. And after testing these games out for a week, here's what I noticed. Frame rate stayed stable, the phone stayed warm, not hot, which says a lot for a device with a giant battery and a slim build. Touch response felt incredibly quick, and it's one of those few phones where I didn't really feel the drop in smoothness after 20 to 30 minutes of gameplay. That alone puts it ahead of a lot of devices that start strong and then crawl once heat shows up. It is noticeably faster than previous flagships like the OnePlus 13, and for everyday tasks, you might not see a dramatic difference, but in sustained performance, long gaming sessions, and workloads like rendering video, yes, it is noticeable. But alright, now that we've talked about power, let's move on to the battery, because this is honestly one of the craziest parts about the OnePlus 15. This phone is packing a 7300 mAh battery, and I know numbers can sometimes sound like marketing fluff, but after using it for a full week, this is not a normal battery. And here's the easiest way to put it. I've been filming this video for about 6 hours and I've only lost 6%, which is absolutely insane. But on most days where I'm usually gaming, doing a bunch of stuff, I keep ending my days around 40%. And again, that's not me trying to stretch it. That's just normal everyday use. Social media, YouTube, messaging, camera shots, maps, scrolling at 120 Hz. And I'm still wrapping up the day with a lot of battery to spare. On Wednesday, I did have a lighter day and I can actually push this phone into 2 full days without reaching for a charger. And if you're the kind of person who uses this phone non-stop, gaming at 165 Hz, using hotspot and shooting video, you'll still make it through a full day without that 5 p.m. panic. And compared to other phones out right now, it's not even close. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is solid, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is very efficient, but in comparison, the OnePlus 15 feels like it's playing in its own league when it comes to endurance. And then there's the charging. OnePlus kept their 120 watt wire charging, which means that you can go from 0 to 100% in around 30 minutes depending on your region. And it's the kind of charging speed that changes how you think about plugging in your phone. Forget to charge overnight, doesn't matter. Plug in while you shower, answer a few messages, get dressed, and it's basically full. It's not MagSafe slow, it's not stuck at 45 watts, it's just straight up fast, like there's no comparison. And you also get 50 watt wireless charging and reverse wireless charging if you ever need to top up your earbuds or another device on the go. OnePlus also says that this battery is rated around 1600 charge cycles before dropping down to 80% health. And to put that into perspective, a lot of phones start slipping around 800 to 1000 cycles, so this could stay healthy for a much longer time. And if you're wondering about heat, yes, it does get a little warm while charging. That's normal for speeds like this, but it's controlled, it's not uncomfortable, and at no point did it feel like it was getting too hot. So to answer the question, can the OnePlus 15 survive a full day of 165 Hz gaming, camera use, and everything else? Well, absolutely. And for a lot of people, it's going to be a 2-day phone without even trying. But alright, let's talk cameras, because this has probably been one of the most controversial parts of the OnePlus 15 online, and I get it. Whenever a new flagship comes out, especially one aiming to compete with Samsung and Google, camera expectations can go through the roof. Now, the OnePlus 15 is running a triple 50 megapixel camera system with a 50 megapixel IMX 906 main sensor, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with about 3.5 optical zoom. And on the front, you're looking at 32 megapixels. Now, in good lighting, I've actually been very impressed. Daylight shots come out sharp, detail, and clean. The new Detail Max engine and Lumo condensed lighting imaging system that OnePlus is pushing shows up when you're shooting outdoors. Colors look natural, not washed out, and the dynamic range handles some pretty harsh sunlight without blowing out the sky every single time. Skin tones look pretty accurate too, which is something that phones still struggle with, especially with mixed lighting. The telephoto performance is another highlight. The 3.5 times zoom produces images that actually look like they came from a real optical lens, not just crop photos, and when you push it a bit further, it still holds on to more detail than I expected. So if you're someone who loves shooting from a distance, whether it be pets, street photography, concerts, this telephoto lens is a real tool, not an afterthought. And although a lot of hate has been directed to the camera, I will say that there are times where it can be lacking. If you're not in great lighting, the camera can get a little inconsistent. It's not terrible, but you can tell where Pixel and Samsung still have an advantage, especially in night mode. There were moments when the process over smooth textures or introduced noise in darker areas. It's not a deal breaker for me, but if low light photography is your top priority, this isn't the best in the game right now. And moving on to video, this phone can shoot up to 8K at 30 frames per second and 4K at 120, and it even supports Dolby Vision. Stabilization looked good, held on to detail without that overly processed look. So for creators filming short content, B-roll, or travel clips, you can get some really solid results here. So no, the camera isn't a disappointment like some people are claiming. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than the hate that it's been getting. And honestly, I feel like if OnePlus pushes a few updates, especially around low light processing and portrait edge detection, this could end up being a really competitive camera system in its price range. Now, let's talk about software, because for a lot of long-term OnePlus users, this is where the trust either gets rebuilt or completely lost. The OnePlus 15 is running Android 16 and Oxygen 16 on top, and after a week of using it, I can say that this feels a lot closer to the OnePlus software experience that I fell in love with. The whole system feels fast, clean, and really well optimized for high refresh rates. Animations are smooth, swiping around feels tight, and I haven't run into any weird stutters or delays. Notifications come through consistently, and I haven't noticed any random app closures or bugs so far. And after a week of use, it kind of feels like Oxygen OS remember who it was supposed to be. Light, simple, and also it has an IR blaster. Who can not like an IR blaster? And when it comes to long-term support, OnePlus is promising 4 major updates and 5 years of security updates depending on your region, and that puts it in a much better place than OnePlus devices from a few years ago. And I would say that for $900, 5 years of support is really good. But alright, let's move on to the stuff that isn't always flashy on the spec sheet, but definitely matters once you start living with the phone. Audio, connectivity, and the little extras. Now, the OnePlus 15 comes with stereo speakers, and they're actually pretty solid. They get loud enough for watching YouTube or TikTok without feeling thin or tinny, and there's a bit more depth in the mids than I expected. Vocals stay clear, gaming audio sounds pitchy, and I didn't hear any distortion even at higher volumes. On the connectivity side, you've got 5G, including sub-6 performance, Wi-Fi 7 support for faster and more stable connections, Bluetooth 6.0, and you have USB-C 3.2 for faster data transfers. Networking has been reliable for me all week. Calls sounded clear on both ends, and I never ran into random signal drops or issues switching between Wi-Fi and cellular. So if you're someone who travels or works in areas with weaker service, this is the type of phone that won't leave you hanging. Call quality has been clean, voice isolation works well, and video calls sounded natural without that compressed metallic edge that some phones have. But alright, after a full week of using the OnePlus 15 as my daily device, here's what I've landed. This phone is not perfect whatsoever, but it is absolutely not the disaster that most people are making it out to be. And the main reason I love the OnePlus 15 is because it feels like a device that isn't trying to win people over on specs alone. It feels like a phone that's actually focused on the stuff that people use on their phones every single day. Battery confidence, snappy software, clean build quality, and a display that looks great the moment that you turn it on. Again, it's not perfect and I don't want it to be. I just want it to be useful, and right now it absolutely is. So I would say that if you're someone who is interested in upgrading to the OnePlus 15, please do not listen to the critics, because in my opinion, just like movies, you can't really get a full analysis on it until you've actually used it. Peace.